Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Beer and Money. My name is Ryan Burklo,
And I'm Alex Collins.
and I just want to start off the episode by saying Happy Thanksgiving. Gobble, 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 gobble.
Happy Thanksgiving, Ryan. Happy Thanksgiving, listeners.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite time of year. Um, I don't know why I'm not a sentimental person for the most part, but this time of year, like I get very sentimental in so many different ways. And today's episode is even more sentimental because I was reading through some notes, Alex, and I found this note that I took around just money and what oftentimes people use it for, or how it goes for good and bad inside of
Right?
families. And there's a quote in one of the notes that I have, and the quote is, "You can pay for time with your kids now, or you can pay for it later.
Right.
Either way, you pay."
Right.
And I thought that would just be a great quote to start off an episode around Thanksgiving, because the fact is here's the thing, right? Money gives us options, right? But it can also take things away if we're not careful, right? I'm reading through my notes here, so if the listeners on YouTube are watching me read, I am reading right now. Um, and going off that quote, you can pay for time with your kids now versus pay for it later. Either way, you're going to pay. It comes from like a lot of people chase financial success, Alex, like, and they forget the whole reason why they're chasing it. And it's
And
easy to do. Like even I have done it.
9 times out of 10, it's to have the flexibility, to have the freedom, to be able to spend the time with your family, to do the things that you care about as a family. In other words, to live the values that you hold, right?
Yeah, and as advisors, we kind of see both sides of money, right? Those who plan intentionally and spend it intentionally, and have values intentionally with their money, and those who let the money drive the family apart, almost, right? Either like maybe the parent is at work and is just so focused on work that they're not present when they get home, right?
Mhm.
Or they're so focused on money that they are just like, they're just not even there at all and spending time with their family.
Well, and like there's also people that view money as like the greatest possible good and like look at it and hoard it and like there's a greed factor there and blah blah blah. And the flip side of that coin is that there's people that think that money is the root of all evil. And neither of those are healthy attitudes towards money. Like money itself is a tool. It's neither good nor bad. It is a tool to be used. It's all about how we use that tool as to whether it's good or bad or like all of the details that go into it, right?
Yeah, I mean, Morgan Housel in his books, he always points out like, and it's kind of corny. Every time he says it, I kind of like, it's corny. I get what you're saying. Like, he genuinely means it. At least
Right.
I think he does. And his comment is, every time he saves a penny, like, doesn't matter what the dollar figure is, every time he saves a dollar amount, he's envisioning it as buying future freedom.
Yeah.
And I, on one hand, like, yes, that's 100% true. But the other hand is focusing so much on your future freedom. What are you giving up today?
Today. Well, and like you and I, our job is to get people to think about the future and to like, but there has to be a balance, right? It can't be all about the future. It can't be all about today. It has to be finding that right balance between enjoying the todays and planning for the tomorrows and making sure that like we're living a balanced life that creates financial freedom. I mean, that's what you and I are after for our clients. And so much of what we do isn't necessarily like it's not groundbreaking. Like you can find most of the stuff that we do someplace, but it's being there and helping clients walk through it. It's creating the level of efficiency so we're not wasting dollars in strategies that like don't work or that um people wind up buying into strategies that they don't understand.
Well, and to take it a step further, like I've started asking questions like, okay, you've got money. Let's just pretend for a second you've got plenty of money.
Mhm.
So in your mind, you're wealthy, where you've got the time back. Where are you spending it? Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? And that's when I get a lot of just blank faces because they haven't thought about it. Because right, they're in the depths of work. Like I get it. I'm not pretending that everyone should know it right off the tip of their tongue. But as we start talking about it, they'll bring up like, "Well, I want to spend more time with my kids. I want to make sure that I spend like travel comes up." But the reason for travel is spending time with someone and experiencing that time with someone. And the last time that this came up, Alex, and which spurred me to these notes was I said, "What's stopping you from doing that some of that today?" And the person just kind of went like they kind of got teary-eyed
Yeah.
because I think it hit them over the head that holy crap, like I'm so focused on like becoming wealthy that I'm forgetting that I can do a lot of the stuff now. Like
Right.
maybe I still have to go to work,
Right.
but I can still do plenty of that. I'm still doing that stuff today, but it gets so lost in a day. Like Dan and I were just literally talking about this. And we've got between Madison's basketball. Nathan is the team manager of the boys varsity basketball. She made this comment that our lives are going to be basketball starting in November, and it won't really end until like mid March.
Yeah.
And at first, it sounds stressful because it's every day. It's every day, right? Even on the weekends, except for Sunday would be our only reprieve. But then we both thought about it and we're like, how cool is that, I get to be involved in coaching Madison. I get to be involved in the boys basketball team too, because I'm involved with Madison's coaching. I get to see the boys coach. We get to go to these games. And all of a sudden we reframed this like stress around time of where we need to be. And we reframed it with where we get to be.
Right. What and like all of those are intentional choices, right? Like, and it's one of those things where had you and Diane not wanted to do that, like, okay, cool, let's just make some different intentional choices so that we're not stressing ourselves out over something that we don't care about. But
But how many
like,
people do that? Right.
right,
And this coming back, right, bringing this into the holiday theme here. Think about like all the different things that you've done this year with family,
Mhm.
with friends, with coworkers, with the people that you care about. And how much of that was a mindset of I had to do it versus I got to do it.
Right. No, and
And
well,
I'm not
and
pretending like, by the way, just so I'm being clear, most of the time I'm in the mindset of I had to do it because that's
yeah.
just the military upbringing that I had. Like that's just my mindset, and I'm trying to be more cognizant around, like, "No, I get to do it."
What not only that, but like this is going to come as a shocker to you, but like a lot of this stuff winds up kind of creeping up on me, and so now I'm like rushed to try and like get planning done for a camping trip or get to like REI to make sure that I've got all the supplies that I need or whatever else. And in like I know I love going to REI. I love going out on the trail with my daughter. It is one of my favorite things in the world to do, like her and I in a tent, like out in the middle of nowhere where there's nobody else around. And we just get to, wake up and see the sunrise. We get to, build a campfire together, roast marshmallows, like eat camp food, go hiking, search in the tide pools, see wildlife. That I love that. And like, I turn it into this massively stressful thing by not dedicating the time ahead of time to like get to do it. I love that framework, and it's going to change how I spend my next year, because it's going to be one of those things where it's like, hey, no, let's prioritize. Like we're gonna like yes, it might be stressful to spend however much it is to go camping, but at the same time, it's something that I love so dearly. Like, okay, let's actually spend the time to devote to doing it properly as opposed to like rushing through it or trying to do something that's too far, too much, whatever else. Just go find something that you enjoy doing it and go do it.
Yeah, and then, like, be in the moment, right? Like, I
Yeah.
think holidays can be a stressful time, let's just call it what it is, like, when you've got maybe parents coming over or cousins or uncles, family members coming over that
In-laws or whatever else.
right, that you maybe butt heads against, maybe, maybe they're louder than you typically like, there's a bunch of things that come into play when we've got holiday season that can be a stressor. And more, I really want. I'm speaking for myself here. I really want to have this focused time of like I get to spend time with my in-laws, and I get to spend time with, my sister-in-law and my niece and nephew, and being able to have that time specifically with them and the family. Like we always do, like a poker game, even with the kids, like at
That's
the end of
cool.
Thanksgiving dinner, or we do Uno or something like that. And they're great times, but there have been times that I've been so stressed that I haven't enjoyed some of those moments, and I think it's just because you get lost, right? You just get lost in the frustrations of stuff, and you just gotta when you take a step back and you look at what you get to do, and that time won't always be there, especially when the kids are younger.
Right.
Like, it's just a different experience, and I employ our listeners, our clients, look at it from that perspective, and it's hard to do.
Right.
Like, I have to like, Diane and I literally in the car ride over, will have this conversation to get in the right mindset because, it can get frustrating sometimes.
Well, and like in today's day and age, in today's society, we're being pulled in a million different ways. And, so much of it is just making sure that we ground ourselves and think about it from the standpoint of like, okay, I love that question that you were asking of like, okay, is this something that I have to do or is this something I get to do? And like, if you really think about it, more often than not, the things like around family and whatnot, they're things that we get to do. And going into it with that mindset of like being thankful for the time, it allows you to ignore the drunk uncle or laugh at it instead of like worry about it, you know?
Or the Burklo family is coming over. Oh, crap.
Or maybe it's you get to enjoy being the drunk uncle.
So, yeah, so, the whole purpose of today's episode, Alex, I think is just, look, we're all trying to build wealth so that we can have the freedom to do what we want and spend the time and really to do what you want. And oftentimes that is doing it with someone else. Like oftentimes
Right.
it's not doing it by yourself, it's doing it with someone, right?
Right.
And this is the season that we get to do a lot of that. And it can either come across as stressful if you have one mindset looking at it, or it can come across of what you get to do and another mindset. And looking back over the last, I guess 10 months now of 2025, look at all the things you got to do versus what you had to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
So,
no, I mean it's fun. And one like, let's take a step back and talk a little bit about like, okay, how does this impact what you and I do for our clients, right? So I was recently in a review with a client, and one of the things that they were sharing was they were like, "Hey, sorry." I was like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Well, we spent a bunch of money this summer on like renting out a cabin on the lake." I'm like, "Okay, why are you apologizing?" "Well, it was expensive and it was money that we weren't sure we had." "Oh, well, so what wound up coming of it?" "Oh, we had enough." "Okay. Well, so tell me about the cabin." "Oh, it was awesome. Like the grandkids were there and we had like, four different families and it was big enough to house everybody and it was right on the lake. And so every morning, like somebody was out on a paddleboard, somebody else was out on a kayak, somebody else was out in the canoe. And like, it was like we had breakfast for like 3 hours because everyone was getting up at different times. And like some of the parents like still worked because they were able to work remotely. And it was awesome. We got to spend an entire month with everybody. It was exhausting, but man, it was awesome. Cool. So everything worked out financially. Like, what? Why are you apologizing? Well, I spent more than I told you I was going to. We
And so
stop.
what's so great about that is, right, they're apologizing to us, but this is what like people, I think, like, don't get me wrong, having a financial plan does calm the nerves, right? Because now you know what you're on pace for. Like there's a bunch of pros that comes from having a financial plan. But the other part of having a financial plan that you and I think are really, really starting to grasp through our clients is they can go spend more of the money that maybe an
Doing it.
extra bonus. Just go spend it because guess what? You're still going to be fine. It
We,
doesn't
as,
have to be about saving all the time.
right. Do the things that you're supposed to do. And as long as you follow the rules and follow the plan, go enjoy the rest of it. Like in this situation, like what this caused me to do was like say, hey, do we want to go ahead and like dedicate a certain amount of money towards being able to create, like how much did it cost to rent the house? And they're like, oh, it was super expensive. It was like $5,000 for the entire month. Oh, okay, got it. Do you want to create $5,000 every year so that you can go do this and maybe create another $3,000 to $4,000 to be able to like go buy all the supplies and do all the, like, have the extra funds just in case? And they were like, wait, we can do that? Yeah, you've done a great job of planning. Like when I tell you you can spend more money, this is the type of thing that I'm wanting you to do. Oh, cool. Let's figure it out and go plan that. And we haven't done that part of the planning yet, but we're going to. Like, we're going to
Yep.
get that done for next year. And it's like, this is the thing where people like, we had a new client meeting the other day and somebody was apologizing for having 30 grand sitting in their emergency reserve. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, well, it's not working hard for me. But it's allowing you to do other things with the rest of your funds.
Yep.
Oh, I'd never thought about it. And like, we get people to think differently about their money, and it unlocks the freedom to be able to do the things that they want to do, and they release that stress, by and large, for some of these things. And whether it's us or somebody else, find a financial professional, find somebody who can speak into your world that can help you figure out how to unlock your wealth so that you can enjoy it and so that you can pass it down to the next generation, and do the things that you want to do, so that we sit around the Thanksgiving table and share wonderful stories of travel and fun times in the summer and fun times in the winter, and traveling to sports and going to concerts and all the other fun stuff that we get to do together.
And so I think if there's one main takeaway from today's episode, Alex, is when you're building your financial plan, you need to be building it towards what you value and the time where you want to spend your time.
Yeah.
It's not on things.
No.
So I think that's a great way to wrap this week's episode, man. Happy Thanksgiving, dude. Seriously.
And like on a personal note, I can't thank you enough. Like, you're a wonderful business partner. Love having you in my life. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, bud. Beerandmoney.net. Before we forget, Alex, we got all sentimental.
I know.
Head over to beerandmoney.net. At the top of the page is a contact us. I hope we can get some engagement here. Go to beerandmoney.net. At the top of the page, it's contact us. Write us a note of where, like, what you value and what you've kind of splurged on this year, and why. What was the value that it brought to you and your family? As well as in the show notes, there'll be an Instagram account and our LinkedIn profiles. That's another way to drop information, or not information, but drop what it is that you did as a family and spent that time together.
Well, and maybe one more, Ryan. What is it that you're thankful for financially this year?
Awesome. That's our show for today. We didn't say cheers to begin with, but we're going to end it with cheers, sir.
Cheers, buddy.
This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not to be construed as tax, legal, or investment advice. Although the information has been gathered from sources believed to be reliable, please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon only when coordinated with individual professional advice. Guest speakers and their firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by Park Avenue Securities, Guardian, or Quantified Financial Partners, and opinions stated are their own. Guardian, its subsidiaries, agents, and employees do not provide tax, legal, or accounting advice. Consult your tax, legal, or accounting professional regarding your individual situation. All investments and investment strategies contain risk and may lose value. This material is intended for general public use. By providing this content, Park Avenue Securities LLC is not undertaking to provide investment advice or a recommendation for any specific individual or situation, or to otherwise act in a fiduciary capacity. Please contact a financial representative for guidance and information that is specific to your individual situation. Ryan and Alex are registered representatives and financial advisors of Park Avenue Securities LLC, OSJ 200 Market Street, Suite 1850, Portland, Oregon 97201. Phone number 503-221-1226. Securities products and advisory services offered through Park Avenue Securities, member FINRA, SIPC. Financial representatives of the Guardian Life Insurance Company of America, Guardian, New York, New York. Park Avenue Securities is a wholly owned subsidiary of Guardian. Quantified Financial Partners is not an affiliate or subsidiary of Park Avenue Securities or Guardian. Ryan Burklo, CA Insurance License Number 0K24924. Alexander Collins, CA Insurance License Number 0H24806.
8549528.1, expiration date October 2027.